Plan Commission meeting to order.
Ooh, we're missing that whole side.
Everybody have a chance to take a look at the minutes?
Move to approve.
And I will second.
Motion is second to approve. Discussion. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion's approved. Discussion and possible action on final development plans for First State Bank and Trust at 680 Annabelle Way.
All right, good evening, everyone. So in front of you, you'll find final development plans for First State Bank, which will be located at the northeast corner of the Bella Rose development. The project proposes a 13,200 square foot building on the 1.85 acre parcel. It'll be a two-story structure and will provide a drive-through, teller, and lobby space, workstations, offices, and conference rooms for the bank. Staff is recommending approval of final development plans with the listed conditions.
Anybody?
Move to approve.
I will second.
Motion is second to approve. Discussion.
I do want to make a comment. I would like to see going forward on these. In the past, we used to, the predecessor to Mike, used to present us and show us the landscaping plans, used to show us the building facades and things like that so we could see it. And we're not doubting your judgment, but it's, you know, a bunch of eyes is better than, you know, more eyes the better, I guess is the way I'm viewing that, not to be rude, but then it also dispels any discrepancies.
And it
too.
also shows it to the viewer.
Shows what?
Shows it to the viewer, the people who are watching.
Right. No, good
In
point.
that respect
Yep.
of what's going on.
So if that's not an unfair request, I would
No, it's not unfair.
please make
In
note
the,
of
in the
it.
packet, though, there is the landscaping plan provided.
Right, and I saw that.
Yeah, in relation to that too, though, staff did find that there were some things that needed to be included, such as coniferous trees per code regulations, so they will be providing those in an updated plan set. Likewise, too, they will also be adding berming between the two driveway entries on the parcel, too.
Where are we at with the traffic study and
The Carmichael Vine
yeah,
traffic study.
and what kind of impact? Obviously, this is gonna be a lower impact, but the ins and outs, and obviously he's forced out on Annabelle Way. Is there a concern? I mean, I know we have concerns on council that this traffic is done right.
Are we ahead of the steamroller on that one, Randy, until the place starts to fill up, or is it too late then?
I don't think it's too late. I don't think this has enough impact on the traffic. you
No.
know. There's another council member here, Jim, I don't know if you wanted to talk to that at all, but we need to know about traffic patterns for everything that comes up there now, I think.
Yeah.
I agree with that. That's all, we know it's overloaded.
Yeah,
So would that be a recommendation too for future
Yes.
reviews to
Yeah.
include traffic impact? Okay,
because we gotta know before, because nothing's being addressed yet on those streets.
yep, right.
And
And
we
how they're
don't,
gonna offload onto Carmichael, unload off of Vine, and the like is gonna have an impact. We know it's gonna be a mare's nest until the whole thing is done, but.
Okay.
Yeah.
please.
Anybody else? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's approved. Discussion and possible action on recommending the Common Council set a public hearing date for a zoning map amendment from B2 General Business to RM2 Multiple Family Residential, and a comprehensive plan amendment from General Commercial to Medium Density Residential at 2408 and 2416 Monterey Boulevard, turning point for victims of domestic abuse.
So the applicant is looking to develop a 25-bed, 10-unit temporary crisis shelter, 2408 and 2416 Monterey Boulevard, as well as a program facility across the street at 2409 Monterey Boulevard. The building would have apartment-style rooms with their own private bathrooms and kitchenette facilities in each apartment, basically like a microwave, little mini fridge kind of thing, yeah. However, a common commercial kitchen and dining area would be available for clients to use as well. Turning Point has also submitted a certificate of compliance for a dormitory-style housing property use. Most clients will stay with Turning Point for approximately 90 days until they can transition into a safer living situation. They will be buzzed into the building by staff and will have a code to get into their individual unit. They will also be monitored. The shelter will be monitored and secured with no guests allowed within it. The applicant is also here as well to provide any answers to questions you might have. Otherwise, staff is recommending approval of setting a public hearing date.
I have one question. I would like to hear from the owner. You're against a wetland there. could there be any trouble with people wandering off, drowning? Or what type of preventative natures are you taking to prevent any, due to the land, where you are? I mean, you look at it, looks like a great fishing hole. If you were somebody sitting inside looking out the window, I'd say, hey, let's go over there.
I'm Amy Berg from Turning Point for Victims of Domestic and Sexual Violence. Because it is a secured, monitored facility, I can't speak specifically to the architectural plans yet. We're still finalizing that, but our current space has a fence around it. We will probably have some fencing. Everything will be monitored on the exterior of the building, just like it is at our current facility right now. So I cannot see someone wandering off into the wetlands. It's a great question, though.
I wanted to hear it, though.
Yeah, I understand.
Where is the current facility?
Our current shelter facility is in River Falls.
Falls? Okay. How many people does it accommodate?
At present time, it is 8 rooms, approximately 21 people at a time.
Okay. And I'm sorry if you said this, Tiffany, but how many people here?
Maybe
What's the
20,
capacity?
25.
It would be approximately 25 at a time, including children.
Okay.
So the individual units, we have approximately 10 to 12, and there would be bunk beds in those rooms just like there are now.
Okay. So I've seen these facilities. The bigger question here, Fred, the real, I think, underlying question when you get over into the neighborhood is that, and help me with this, okay, but, and the reason, obviously it's a secure facility, is that you have perpetrators that perpetrated the domestic violence in the first place that may try to get access to the people that are living there.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's the bigger issue. And I've seen that in other neighborhoods where I lived, and it can potentially be a real threat. And so the secure facility is not about keeping people from wandering into ponds.
It's keeping others out.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I want to hear that. Thank you.
May I?
Yep, please.
That has really not been an issue at our shelter in River Falls.
Okay, that's good to hear.
Yeah.
Do you need a motion to approve?
Right,
So moved.
for public
Yeah, for
hearing.
the public hearing to take place.
Yeah,
You've been quite full, haven't you, in River Falls, right?
Yes, we're almost always at capacity.
Yeah.
so we got a motion, second. And what is the notice on this? To the neighborhood,
So a neighborhood meeting has already been held,
the library?
but Turning Point is also going to be pursuing a block grant where they're also required to hold another neighborhood meeting. So we'll be hosting another one as well.
Is there any notice that goes out about the public hearing?
And then the public hearing.
Right, 300 feet again? Okay. All right. Anybody else? Oh, yeah.
Who seconded that?
Mary Clark.
Mary, those two did 1 and 2.
Okay.
They can fight over who's 1 or 2.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any additional discussion?
One last question. Is there any thought of expanding this facility, or is there room there to expand this facility if you needed to be? Or is that somewhere in the background, the back thinking of your head that, hey, say in 5 or 10 years we need more space, we could do it here?
I think we would have to have some more conversation with the city about that. There could be potential in the future to expand, but just given the state of the organization, our staff capacity, that would take some extreme growth on our part. So we would like to stay just a little bit above where we are right now.
Okay, well, no, I just
Yeah,
was thinking, I didn't know what you were thinking, and so I wanted to hear that.
yeah, perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Were there any issues or anything that came up at the neighborhood meeting?
I can speak to that. I was not present at the neighborhood meeting, but I did get information from people who were there. There were some questions from some of the people in the apartment complex. They were wondering why they didn't all receive an invitation to attend the community meeting, so I'm sure we'll hear from some more of them again. They had concerns about the view. Would it be blocking the wetlands? They had the same concern that the mayor had about perpetrators in the area. I believe that concern was handled not only by our staff and board of directors, but some of the people who were in attendance who had done research in other communities and learned that this was not an issue. Trying to think of other concerns they had. I'm told they had concerns that they were on They were speaking for the daycare. They felt concerned about crime in the area because of the daycare, and I think that concern was remedied as a result of that conversation. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Anybody else? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's approved. Thank you. Discussion and possible action on downtown design review for 18 Buckeye Street, St. Croix Sailing School.
So St. Croix Sailing School has submitted applications for approval of a new A-frame sandwich board sign to be located in the southwest corner of First Street in Buckeye. The sign would be 5.85 square feet in size, would stand 2.92 feet in height, 2 feet in width. Our code does not permit portable signs, i.e. sandwich board signs, to be greater than 3 feet in height and 2.5 feet in width in the B3 zone. So the sign meets all of those requirements. The sign permit designates the sign would be a seasonal sign, not temporary. That would be placed out on the corner during weekdays only, Monday through Friday, during the sailing season, the months of June, July, and August. So this would be recurring every year as well. So staff is recommending approval with those stipulations, as well as the time of display being during weekdays only during the summer and recurring every year.
Absolutely. Second?
Motion and second to approve. Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's approved. Discussion possible action on a downtown design review for 108 Walnut Street to Riverview Dental Clinic.
So Riverview Dental Clinic has also submitted a sign permit application and downtown design review certificate application for approval of a new projecting wall sign at their location at 108 Walnut Street. It actually would be on an existing bracket that's connected on the wall right now. So the sign's proposed to be 9.43 square feet large. The existing bracket would be used and extends about 4.375 feet out from the wall. However, the sign itself will not extend more than 4 feet from the wall. Sign's also proposed to be non-lit, so code doesn't permit projecting signs anywhere outside the B3 Central Business District, and also does not permit projecting signs larger than 20 square feet in size, and also doesn't permit them to project on the wall more than 4 feet. So this would be meeting all of those stipulations as well. Due to that, staff is recommending approval with the listed conditions.
It's high enough. I mean, you look at the artist rendering, and I'd say if I was a basketball player, I could jump up and hit that. I'd want to try it. Is it high enough? Do we know the height?
Height isn't something that we actually
Their
regulate.
problem.
Huh?
It's their problem.
Okay. What happens if what happens if there's ice on the sidewalk?
Don't know.
Just asking
Are
questions.
they making it a hazard? A hazardous nuisance? Is that what you're
That's
getting at?
not the, no, that's not the intention at all, Pat. It's just I'm looking at being defensive, saying, what if this happened?
Yeah.
So I'm asking those questions on that train of thought. What if this happened?
Right.
Is the city in
case
trouble?
of-
Did we not set the sign
case
height
of
high enough? Taking some, just, you'd think, standard precautions to prevent any trouble.
The sign applicant would be the one responsible in case of any.
Can that be brought up that, we want it up high enough that, people can't be jumping up and hitting it and stuff like
That's
that?
10, at least, basketball rim is 10 feet, so.
So you're requesting that the existing bracket be moved up?
I guess, I mean,
I'm looking at the artist rendering. And you look at that on the sidewalk, if you guys all have that, and
Yeah.
it looks like you could jump up and hit it. You look at the number of courses of brick, on that wall down to the sidewalk,
I want to hear.
unless you're 5'1", you could go up there and get it.
It's hard to judge it on
Hard
this
to- I
because
know that,
the picture's coming uphill, going uphill. You've got the one sign from the parking sign on the pole there. That's pretty high up. I don't know if I was in there. I'll move we approve it because I don't see the issue at this point.
Well, and it's saying that it meets all code requirements.
Yeah.
So-
I'll second it.
I mean, I get your concern, but
Okay.
Are we
I-
gonna see you out there jumping up trying to hit this sign, Fred, or?
Maybe. Right after you.
Good luck with that. That ain't happening. All right, we got a motion and second. Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's approved. Discussion possible action on a certificate of, Yep, okay. On a certificate of compliance for Simply Giggle to operate a daycare center and Montessori facility at 1401 Gateway Circle, Simply Giggle Childcare LLC.
So Simply Giggle has submitted a certificate of compliance application for a daycare center and Montessori facility at 1401 Gateway Circle by Menards. They're looking to relocate from the current location in the St. Croix Business Park. The current site has it uses two different parcels that are kind of split between a road down the middle, so kids have been crossing over the roads. Now, by moving to this new location, it'll actually make things a lot safer for the kids.
Remember
The
that.
daycare will be licensed for up to 42 children, and the Montessori is licensed for 23 children during the school year with the possibility of a school-age summer program as well. The business employs 7 full-time teachers, 1 director, and 4 to 5 part-time staff. And the property 1401 Gateway Circle also has an existing 12-foot fenced area off to the side that will be used for outdoor learning. So staff is recommending approval with the listed conditions. The applicant is also here if they would like to answer any of your questions that you might pose.
So Pete, this was your remedy from the previous issue you had up there.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Move to approve with staff recommendations.
Second.
Motion and second to approve, discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's approved. Discussion and possible action on an amendment to Municipal Code Chapter 255, zoning to include short-term home rentals.
Great, so last time you guys saw this, it was under construction pretty heavily by staff, but thankfully, the code has been now simplified courtesy of our very own David Gray. To summarize a couple of the bigger points, we're looking to remove the bed and breakfast part of the zoning code and just combining it into the short-term home rental code, which will actually be in its own chapter, not included in the zoning code. Other minor things that were changed as well includes that the type of rentals was now combined into one, so now there's no longer the 3 or 4 different types that we'd proposed before. So instead of unhosted versus bed and breakfasts and Airbnbs, it's now all combined into one. They will all follow the same guidelines and rules and will have the same application requirements as well.
Do they have the same minimums then
Yeah.
too? Okay.
Additionally, appeals process has been outlined in case of a licensure denial. All types of short-term rentals will also be required to pay the city room tax as well as state sales tax. And a license revocation process has also been outlined, which will basically include neighbors having the right to file a written complaint with the city clerk's department. From there, the clerk will notify the short-term home renter that they need to appear before the common council to explain why the license should not be revoked. And if that doesn't get approved, it could be denied, which then there's the appeals process from there. David, if I missed anything, feel free to come to the podium and include anything else.
I think you did a great job. The only thing I'd add is that, this commission won't see an application. Kathy, the city attorney, is directing us to make this a licensing process only. So the application will go to the city clerk. If it meets the criteria, she could approve their operation, without plan commission or council, getting a chance to review that. So that's something you want to think about as we're moving forward to approve this.
Repeat that last part, David?
So, previously, the first draft, the first shot we took at this was, you had 4 different license classes, and we were going to set it up so that if you had a property and you're going to use it as a unhosted rental, that category of properties would have to get a conditional use permit. So then, then obviously it would come to you for approval. What Kathy is instructing us, and based on some court history in the town of Holland, the only way we can regulate these rentals is through a licensing situation. You know, in her opinion, if a property is a dwelling, you know, it's a full-fledged living unit, we can't prohibit someone from renting it either short-term or long-term. So
We can't prohibit it, but we sure can license it,
we can license it, yes.
which takes care of a majority of the issues that are brought up.
So really the categories in the license, or I should say the performance standard in the license, really are the same criteria we were going to establish for a conditional use permit. So it, you know, I think it has a lot of teeth to it. You know, we talk about maximum occupancy. You know, we want to limit the size of the party, so to speak, at these rental properties. We're also going to ask that the owner is within 30 miles of the property anytime it's rented. We're going to ask that the owner's contact information is distributed to any neighbor within 300 feet of the property. Part of the application is going to require that they identify where the people are going to be parking. Some signage stuff, garbage, maintenance items. You know, we have a section there that talks about noise now. You know, so they can't have any amplified noise after 10 p.m. Health and safety items, smoke detectors, fire extinguishers. You know, we're going to ask that they have a disclosure policy or posting inside the properties, so the renter knows who they're renting from, how to contact them. The renter knows the maximum amount of guests that are allowed on the property. The posting will also reiterate the noise rules. And then the process identifies the fact that, you know, we have the right to inspect the property annually and upon probable cause.
Could you explain that 30-mile, the owner must be within 30 miles of the building?
Yeah, so, you know, if, you know, we're asking that they get their contact information out to the neighbors, you know, if something gets to be too loud or they're, you know, they can contact that person if necessary. You know, they're going to be within 30 minutes of the property, you know, to try to, you know, calm some of those situations.
Is that practical?
Well, what if they're on
I could see
vacation?
dealing with it.
What if they?
Okay, I went to Florida for
Right.
a vacation for a month, like a lot of people do.
Yep.
I'm more than 30 miles away.
Which might be why they're renting their house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what I'm searching for is what it is that we're looking for. If we're looking for someone to respond to that person who's rented, right, that they know, or the neighbors can respond, that there's a secondary person to call when the owner isn't available, and that. So now if you have a property manager, so if I'm not here and I say you can, you know, call XYZ Property Management, they'll handle it or deal with it.
And that's a valid point. I didn't think of it from that aspect. You know, talking among city staff, you know, our thought was we want the owner to be responsible, responsible landlord.
And he can do that in many ways, though, by having a designated person locally to take care of things. A lot of our hotels are owned by corporations that aren't nowhere near here.
Right.
And so, you know, they're under the same guise almost.
But you know, hotels typically have someone on site.
I know,
Yeah.
but the point being of the
If they're in
ownership.
Cozumel. I'm sorry, Fred.
What does that do to zoning, David? I mean, if somebody's got a place that's rented out quite a bit, all of a sudden it's a commercial, I mean, it's a hotel.
You could put simple language in it and/or designee.
Right.
And we had it as a, owner or property manager. If that's the route you want to go, we can definitely make that change.
How about, if it is a popular house for being an Airbnb and it's being rented out almost constantly, how does that affect value compared to the house next door that's lived in by that family?
Well, that's what I meant by the zoning question.
Yeah.
Another twist on it, but
So, I think maybe before we adopt these rules, I think next meeting Kathy should attend. Been relying on her quite a bit. Really, we what I made mention of, if a property is a legal dwelling unit, that property owner has the right to use it as a dwelling unit, whether it's for himself, for a rental, and even in this case, a short-term rental.
Okay.
So that's really why it's being taken out of our zoning chapter, and it's going to be in its own standalone chapter.
Could we have it such that if they cross a certain threshold within the amount of how many nights or days it is rented within a year, that once it crosses that threshold, it goes into a different category and gets reviewed in a different way? If you're the neighbor and you got the house next door, is somebody turning over all the time, that's different than the once in a while.
I agree with you on that, because it kind of dictates and declares value of the property, because, hey, look, we can rent this thing out all the time.
Yeah.
And so if we go to sell it, it makes it much more valuable.
Well, it's income producing property then.
But I also have a question. If you've been watching the state of Minnesota and their Airbnbs and what they're doing to the cabin owners up north, and they're going in and to the people that are renting it out, they've reclassified their property and they've raised their property taxes tremendously. That's kind of what I meant by my question on the zone, and I realize why you separated the two, but I'm not looking for an answer tonight. I'm just saying, is that in there somehow, or could it wiggle its way in there somehow? I mean, because if somebody's using a place for income, it changes the function of the property.
And I guess this is growing pains, and I think these are first steps in regulation.
And what are what's the unintended consequence that comes about from us doing this, creating that we didn't think of? I think it's a good exercise to go through.
So how will this be licensed or controlled? I mean, we all probably know a number of locations that are Airbnb, but I mean, so how will this be implemented?
Initially, I guess we'll notify anyone who's advertising on any of the websites.
So you'll seek these folks out
Right. And also we'll notify any current conditional use permit holders for traditional bed and breakfast operations.
What's your recommendation right now, David?
It's just introduction tonight. We still have some tweaking to do, and like I said, I think I'll have Kathy attend our next meeting.
It'd be nice to have her here,
Yeah.
All right, so we'll set this aside until the next meeting, or set enough time for Kathy, you think, to look at
Yeah,
this?
I hope so.
Am I safe to assume that other thing has gone away because he put it up for sale?
Is the other thing, the problems or the
house on Second Street.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing to say that, the next owner doesn't want to operate as a Airbnb or VRBO, but we'll have regulations in place. We'll know how to.
Correct.
Is that the
Handle it.
issue where we had the complaints? Yeah. He's selling his house?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Okay. All right.
Yep.
Sounds good, David, thank you.
Thank you.
I heard who's looking at that. I heard who's looking at that to buy it.
Pat?
No.
No, not me.
It's a historic house.
Anyway, I'll tell you afterwards.
Okay.
You'll get a grin out of it.
Okay. I've got nothing. Anybody? Future agenda items? Anything else to say?
Move to adjourn.
And I second.
Motion is second to adjourn. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's approved. Stand adjourned. Thanks, everybody.